Hi, I'm Sean Manaher, host of the Author Hangout. The Author Hangout is brought to you by Book Marketing Tools, which aims to equip authors with the right tools, education, and community to help you market your books better. Now, today on the episode for the Author Hangout, we're going to be tackling the topic, how to find your readers. Now, that's a topic that every author is asking about. They're wondering about it. They cry about it. They're afraid of it. But have no fear. Put away your tissues. We have Cristin Harber on the show today. I'm really excited to have Cristin Harber on the show. She writes romantic suspense with, what is it? How does she say it? With sizzle. And she is a resident from Northern Virginia. She graduated University of Louisville. Her and her husband have 2 kids and an English bulldog. Cristin, welcome to the Author Hangout.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Great.
And I have both these kids around here somewhere, so if you hear a peep, they're just saying hello.
There you go. That's cool. Well, it's really great to have you on the show. And with today's show, what we're going to be talking about, as I mentioned, how to find your readers. And audience, we're doing the same thing as we've done before. We're using the hashtag, the Author Hangout. So we're going to be tracking your comments and questions as we go through the show. And so, audience, do your thing. Now, as I said, everybody listen up, listen in. We're tackling the topic, how to find your readers. And I have to tell you that Cristin is a pro at this. She's a real expert at it. And we're going to jump right in. And one of the first questions that we have from Sally is, how do I find sci-fi readers? But a caveat, don't include Google Plus and don't include Facebook groups.
Okay, no Facebook, no Google Plus. My automatic reaction would be to look at Goodreads. The interesting thing about Goodreads is that we can really look at genre-specific fiction. And I am a reader first, and I think a lot of writers are readers first. And that's really how we can utilize Goodreads, is by joining groups and participating in discussions. And a lot of those groups give the opportunities for authors to, in a separate area, post their books and what they're working on and things like that. But just interacting with fans and building relationships on Goodreads I found to be pretty helpful. I've not done that as much in the last couple months because I have a new baby at home. Okay. But that's really something I think that genre-specific, and I don't know a lot about science fiction, but that would be my first go-to.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks for that. The next question, we actually have a couple questions in the same genre. And the next question actually comes from Rod. I'm looking for baby boomer readers, probably 50 and up. What do you think about that?
You know, I got to tell you, Rod, I do not know. I don't have a good answer for that, so I wouldn't want to volunteer any information other than the fact that I would say that Goodreads is huge. I'm not just trying to push Goodreads, but Goodreads is huge, and you're going to find different reader-oriented groups there. I don't have a good answer.
And that's okay, Cristin. I did a little bit of homework on this one.
Oh, great.
I made some assumptions about Rod's questions. He's looking for baby boomer readers, and my initial assumption was, you know what, Rod, you need to get on LinkedIn. You need to be on LinkedIn groups. You need to focus in on that area. I was completely wrong.
Okay.
I said, you know what?
Interesting.
Yeah. I was like, oh, this is great. So I looked at it further, and what I came to find out, I made those assumptions, but then when I researched it, Facebook is huge for boomers. They are on it at an incredible percentage over the last 3 years, has increased a tremendous amount. So, Rod, for your baby boomers that are 50 and older, dependent on your topic, you're going to be looking at Facebook. You're going to be looking at Facebook groups. And what you can do is you can search for keyword-specific groups that might be in your area. So let's say your book is on finance for boomers. So simply go into Facebook, type in baby boomer finance, or even back out of Facebook, go into Google and search for Facebook groups, whatever the name of your book is, and I think that will net you a lot of opportunity for those types of readers.
You can actually also target Facebook advertising by age, I believe, and various other demographics. So if you were going to run an ad, or if you wanted to pull likes to an author page, you could target that by sex, age, education,
Okay.
location. Yeah.
And can you go into that? You've run Facebook ads,
Yeah, I
Cristin?
love Facebook ads. Absolutely. Um, the first couple things I did was to set up affiliate links so that I know when people are purchasing, and also I use a Bitly link so that I track when I do an advertisement. So I personally have only targeted for things that I think end up in sales. So I recently did a Facebook advertisement for a 99-cent box set, and I had a release party for a single title release a couple weeks ago, and I did a full price advertisement push for that. In both of those, I targeted by author interests, demographics, age, and women, because I write romance, and that's primarily my group. Though I will say that I have a lot of guys that have contacted me saying that they're fans, because I write a lot of guns and bombs and things like that. So
You know, actually, RJ is
yeah.
a big fan of romance suspense. He doesn't like to tell anybody, but he is so into it. I can't believe it. He tries to hide behind things, but you know, it is what it is. Now,
Well,
talking
especially that
about
sweet stuff, right?
yeah, exactly. Talking about things you might know something about, and tell us a little bit about your story with this question.
Okay.
Trish is asking, I write romantic suspense. I would love to know how to identify my readers. Tell us a little bit about your story and then answering this question, if you don't mind.
From the very beginning, or
When you were born and then
okay.
later on in, yeah.
Well, what I did is I published 5 titles at once in September. So I'm actually coming up on my 6-month anniversary this coming week. But so I had 5 titles, and they are romantic suspense. And after each title, I have a buy link so that somebody can move on from one book to the next book. As for targeting romantic suspense, I focused on keywords and on getting on subgenre lists. Um, Specifically, the military romance list was very important for me. So I used keywords when I was uploading to Amazon, and then also I had a relationship with a few readers on Goodreads, and I used NetGalley for reviews, and I targeted people that were heavy romantic suspense readers who have a history of reviewing the likes of Maya Banks and Liliana Hart and those type authors, and I would look to see if it was their cup of tea, and from there I would let them kind of spider web to their fans. So if they posted a review, their fans tended to be romantic suspense readers, and it kind of went from there.
Okay. And with that, when you're targeting other well, when you're targeting for readers, do you actually target the other books that are in your genre? That is, do you look at the reviews that are on those to try and find those same people online, or do you do anything like that?
If no, not necessarily. It seems a little, for the amount of time that I have to spend, that would be a little too time intensive.
Mm-hmm.
So I let them come to me, and then I sort through who I think would be a good fit. Because there's some people that would request a book, and if I see that they're constantly awarding 2 and 3 stars, they can go buy the book if they want to. I'm not
Yeah.
going to give you.
Yeah.
And so that's what I did. But I didn't go searching out specific. Well, I will say that I have probably 20 or so Facebook pages that I follow as a reader.
Yeah.
And I sent my ARC or my book to them with a review request, and I think that like 2 of them reviewed the book. But
Yeah.
I also met a ton of other Facebook reviewers that had blogs also, and they reached out to me, and we now have an established relationship. I did a blog tour. They jumped on the blog tour with this recent release I had. So the relationship has been building over the last 6 months, and a lot of that's been just offering the opportunity for them to read the book, and then talking to them, because I feel like I found that a lot of them feel like authors are just throwing stuff at them. here, read my book, thanks, bye. And so
Yep.
I took time to say, this one, a friend of mine named Sharon recommended a blog, Mandy's blog, it was straight shooting book reviews. And she said, you need to contact Mandy. And so I did. And we've established this relationship. She's a great reviewer. I never would have found her without somebody passing her name along. So I guess I also asked people, where do you read reviews? Where do you find recommendations at? And then I introduced myself way before I asked them to review my book.
Okay. And so that kind of goes along the same question that Robin had. My biggest question would be how to find legit book reviewers for upcoming KDP ebooks. Thanks. So thank you, Robin, for that question. Anything to add with finding reviewers?
I spent so much time I released the last week in September. My anticipated release date was October 1st, but I spent like 2 straight days of contacting book reviewers and filling out forms, and I sent out emails. The return of my time was awful, and it just didn't really net me anything.
Okay.
And so I put one book into NetGalley, and it was the first book, and it was expensive. I think it was like almost $400, which is a huge amount of money for somebody who's never published anything. It was a big risk.
Yeah.
And but it paid off so much so that I looked at the numbers, I looked at the reviews, and a couple weeks later I put the second book up, and then eventually the third book. I staggered them. I think the second one up in November, the third in December, at the end of December. So, but it has been worth it to me because I only have a set amount of time. I basically do everything book related during nap times, before everybody gets up, and after everybody goes to sleep. So it was worth the investment to spend the $400 in September, November, December.
Very cool. And William Rock just popped up a good question. And let me tell you, everybody, there are tons of good questions coming through here. So I want to let you know that we're going to be continuing to answer the questions after the show. So if your question does not get answered, that's okay. We will answer every question that comes through. But some good thoughts coming through. William Rock, do you also read and review other books, and where do you do that?
I don't post reviews anymore. I think I did as a reader. I used Goodreads for maybe like a year or two before I decided that I was going to self-publish, and I went through and I changed. I took down anything that was critical because I want to find the balance of being a reader and an author on Goodreads. Yep. And I believe I've only posted it's I've either read it or I want to read it. So I think I have one do not read. It was a pirated book. I have, for my critique partners, given them 5 stars, and I have written reviews for those. And there's like three critique partners, and they have, I think, probably 6 or 7 books out. So those are the reviews that I've done. And I'm pretty open about the fact that they are my critique partners. So I've posted those on Goodreads and on my Facebook page.
And how important is it to have a critique partner in the process? Not only to write the book, but to then market it after. Do they help in any way like that?
I'm a huge believer in cross promotion, and my critique partners do not write romantic suspense, so you might assume that our readers might not cross genres or whatnot, but we do all read and write romance. And I think that somebody that likes romance is going to consider another genre. We share readers, and we pimp each other's books on our pages. They might be the single largest source of my word of mouth readers. I mean, it's such a great opportunity. I have found that, for cover shares, reveals, teasers, I had a Facebook party. We all came and gave out our books, each other's books, and people get really excited about that. And readers like to interact with authors. I think with the advent of indie authors and self-publishing, we've become accessible, and it's this whole new thing where people can actually get online and just chat and ask a question about a character or a storyline. They want to know what I'm reading. I get emails constantly. What are you reading? Who are you reading? And my critique partners are always on the top of that list just because I really am invested in them doing well. But they've really got great stories. And I think also, I've heard sometimes the critique partners can be writing a book by committee, and that's not the case at all with us. We bounce ideas, and I think it's part of our process. But at the end of the day, we each have a very specific style of writing. Some of us write first person, third person, all kinds of stuff. But readers are readers, and critique partners are a big, huge part of hand-selling books, and that's what we do. We hand-sell each book. Each book is earned.
Awesome. And you heard it here first, Cristin Harber, pimp your books with critique partners. Pimp your books with critique partners. Tweet that wherever you need to go. We're going to make T-shirts about that. You have to do that.
That's for sure.
And speaking of politics, good segue. So tell us how politics has flavored, influenced, helped you in writing your books.
Okay, writing the books, not so much. Selling the books, that's been helpful. I write about black ops guys that interact with government, but there's no partisan pull or sway. Party's not really addressed other than politicians to get in the way of things, I guess. But I did work in politics for a while, and I learned that, except on the very, very tippy top, politicians, much like indie authors, have to fight for every vote, or we have to fight for every book sale. And you have to have a marketing plan, much like their campaign plan, that is multifaceted. So it's going to be, what they do is they knock on doors, they introduce themselves to people, they have commercials, they show up at county fairs. We are on Facebook having conversations. We're having, we're tweeting about things. We're learning all about Google Hangout, which is kind of new for me. You know, we use advertisements on Facebook and Goodreads. We have the opportunities to get reviews, and basically that's just hand selling your book from one person to the next person. You're creating word of mouth, and you're giving them a reason to want to buy your book. In politics, if you want to find a new voter for a new candidate, you would say candidate A is very similar to candidate B. You like candidate B, so consider candidate A. So what I would, say is, or I would be in a conversation with somebody, not necessarily being this direct, but if somebody likes this new Gwen Hernandez book that's out, or or Maya Banks is my go-to because I love her. But if you like Maya Banks, you might like, if you like KGI, you might like Cristin Harber's Titan. So that's kind of where I make the connection, and that's all about, you know, finding something that motivates a buyer to one click.
Cool.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, and you probably have lots of elephants and donkeys in the stories as well to, you know, flavor the politics of
I'm
things.
so sick of politics. I'm like, stay away. Does that character seem like it has any partisan? Nope, good, okay, then he can stay.
That's funny. So I have a question for you. This is my question. So why is September 30th, 2008 an important date for people to remember you about?
Okay, hold on. September 30th.
23rd, 2008.
2008?
Yeah. Yeah, why is that important? Okay, so I'm going to tell you why it's important. And I want everybody to listen up and listen in. That's when Cristin got on Twitter. That's the first day she said this. She said, I am trying to figure out Twitter. And I just want to tell you guys this, is that if you're doing anything with marketing your books, there comes a day when you just need to get on Twitter. You just need to get into a Facebook group. You need to get into a LinkedIn group. You need to just figure it out, because It starts one day. Now we're looking at 6 years later, and she is a self-publishing rock star. And I'm going to throw out, is it okay if I share your numbers? Can I share your numbers?
Yes.
This, on average, Cristin is selling 10 to 15,000 books a month. That is a month. Guys, it starts someplace, and it just, at some point, you have to just get in there, start marketing, really dive in, and just try it all out. Try it all out.
I remember when we first started, every night I'd look at my numbers. What's happening? And I remember my husband saying the first couple weeks, if we can sell 100 books in a day or in a week or something like that, like we can do this. Like we can really do this. What can we do tomorrow? What one thing am I going to do tomorrow to sell however many more I need to get to that number at the end of the week? And I would think I have no way of doing this. So I would have a conversation on Twitter, or I would make sure that I liked every single person that commented on something on Facebook, or I wrote back. But every day I would say, what can I do to meet one more person? And it's really, really stinking hard. Especially because, I mean, at the time, the first 3 or 4 weeks, I was 9 months pregnant. I mean, I was humongous. I had a toddler running around the house screaming. She wanted to do bubbles. I mean, like, I can't explain to you how hard it was to want to have a conversation when all I wanted to do was sleep or eat, one of the two. And but I did, and it paid off.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And that goes in line with your maternity marketing. That you're in the maternity ward is some story I heard about this. What is this?
So I believe that content is king, and you have to continually feed the beast. So the beast being Amazon, and I had the 5 stories that I put out, and I knew that I needed to keep writing, so I was going to start the next book. So I spent like 3 weeks marketing and meeting new people, and then the 4th week was delivery week. So I was like, this is a great time to start my next book. It's going to be like a vacation. No toddlers to feed. My husband can, find food on his own. I mean, this is going to be great. So I brought my laptop to the hospital and tried to, chapter 1. But it didn't go as well. But I hand sold a couple books, and I gifted books to the nurses, and I was on anesthesia, C-section. I was just telling everybody about my books. One of my best friends and critique partners, she took over my Facebook page for the entire week that I was in the hospital, and we posted a 500 likes character interview that she had done, and then had a contest, basically. Maybe not a contest, but encouraged people to post who they thought the characters looked like all week long while I was out.
Yeah.
And then, then the following week, I just tried to catch up with everything. So, and by that time, enough people had asked to have a separate page where they could talk about the characters and the plot lines. So I ended up starting the Team Titan page, where I think more readers are comfortable posting who they think their characters look like, so it's not in their Facebook feed.
Very cool. And with that, kind of talking about, what are you currently doing to capture more readers? What are some things that you, just like Twitter in 2008, what are some new things that you're trying today to get more readers?
New things that I'm trying today. I am in the process of trying to do some cross-promotion with some authors. Yesterday I did a St. Patrick's Day Facebook party where I posted for 15 minutes, captioned this picture. Last week Sharon Hamilton invited me to be on her Facebook release party launch, and I got some great new readers off of that, and she was on my release party along with a handful of other authors, and I think that we found that we had the opportunity to meet new readers. And so I think that Facebook launch parties and release parties are huge at the moment, because authors are more comfortable cross-promoting with each other, and readers are coming to realize that they can share these events and go with their friends and really interact and have a good time. I mean, a great time, actually. It was really a blast. It's exhausting in a way that you can't even explain, but it was so much fun, and I got a ton of new friends out of it.
Very cool. And we have another comment that came up here, and I just lost it. Let me find it again. So the question is, how? What do you mean about the Twitter connections? And basically, I think to flavor that, how are you, like, actually, because I studied your Twitter profile, I stalked you on this, but why don't you answer, how do you foster the engagement on your Twitter profile and these people?
Okay, I think there's two main reasons, or main ways that I do that. I use hashtags. Romantic suspense is one that I use a lot, and there are a few people that have come to automatically retweet anything that I have tagged with romantic suspense, and so that relationship has probably been. We've been building it. I mean, maybe a couple months ago they would retweet everything, or a couple tweets. But now it's almost an immediate automatic, and I think that they may even have me like set up on some kind of like auto retweeter. I don't know why we're always on Facebook or Twitter at the same time. But and the other thing is, I don't constantly push just my books. Like I have writing related things tied into just everyday life, and this always comes up because I guess a major part of my life is the Die Hard series. I'm constantly watching those movies, and last night I was watching those movies. I was watching Die Hard. AMC had them on, and so I should have been writing, but I wasn't, and I tweeted out, AMC's showing Die Hard tonight, and I had a couple people retweet that, like, oh, you should have been writing, but yeah, I watched Die Hard too. So, awesome. And those are not romance readers that are retweeting that, but they are just people that I've met or I know online, but they also have, their network. So when it's like the spider web effect. When they retweet, somebody else sees it. So, and then I always notice anytime somebody retweets something that's not just a buy link, I get new followers. So.
Very cool.
And then eventually those people will see my buy links.
Yeah, and can I just say I wrote down, I think it is 6 or 7 things that when I was studying your profile, because I think that, number one, guys, study Cristin's social media stuff. Honestly, if you want to hack what she's doing and get into the things that she's doing, look at what she does. And here are some of the things that she does. I listed: be yourself, engage naturally, engage frequently, engage in multiple forms, create a sense of excitement. So all of those things, as I studied Cristin's profile, just on Twitter, those are the things that are very practical that you can do. Don't create a persona that isn't you.
Right.
Jump on Twitter, be who you are, and out of that, it's just these relationships will foster and will grow over time.
Mm-hmm. I think a few years ago, there was a big push for romance authors to post like pictures of hot guys. And I remember thinking, God, do I really need to do that constantly? Because I think it's fun, but it's not me. I'm just like this nerd, and it wasn't always me. Like, that's somebody else's thing, and that's awesome, and I retweet that stuff too. But I had to find my own niche, and it took a while. It took a while for me to be the stay-at-home mom who has to chase her toddler, who enjoys action movies, that happens to write romance. And once I was comfortable with that, then it kind of flowed from there.
Awesome. Well, Cristin, I hate to end it, but okay, we're very close to the end. And what I would like to say, first off, thank you. Also, the audience, guys, you are like blowing up the comments, and I so appreciate that. Again, we're going to answer these comments that are coming through, so thank you. Keep them coming if you have more questions. Cristin, as we wrap this up, where can people find you? What's your next project? What's going on with you?
Okay, well, you can find me on Twitter. My name's spelled a little differently, but it's at Cristin Harber. It's Cristin, and Harber. And I'm on Facebook, and if you want to talk about Team Titan, you can search Team Titan in Facebook, and it'll bring you to a closed group, and we'd love to chat with you there. So I'm there all the time. And the next book I'm working on is actually a prequel to the second book in the series, and it has more of a new adult feel to it. So I'm hoping to pick up some new readers with that, and then I have 2 more novels planned for this year.
Awesome. Well, keep us posted. We're going to have you on again, and we're going to get all geeked out on numbers and spreadsheets.
I love numbers.
You and Tara, I'm sure that Jason Weiser's into numbers too. So as we wrap up, guys, if you have not already downloaded Book Marketing Tools Ultimate Author Checklist, do it now. It's go to bookmarketingtools.com/blog on the right-hand side. I'm pointing to the left so you all see it. Go there, fill out the form. Click the blue button so that you get that. Not only are you going to get the guide, which is a really good resource in marketing your book and giving you a plan to follow, but you're also going to get on our weekly emails for marketing author tips. So in 2 weeks, we're going to be here with Kathy Mice, who is the owner of Publish. In 2012, her company launched that because she and them were just frustrated with the economic distance in the publishing world, and she wanted to create a platform for individuals, for authors like you guys to be part of. So thank you, everybody. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Take care.